April 10, 2010. A Polish government aircraft, a Tupolev Tu-154M, took off from Warsaw at dawn. On board were 96 people, including the President of Poland, Lech Kaczyński, the First Lady, Maria Kaczynska, the Chief of the General Staff, the President of the National Bank, top military commanders, ministers, historians, and religious leaders. They were en route to Smolensk, Russia, to attend a solemn ceremony marking the 70th anniversary of the Katyn massacre, where thousands of Polish officers were executed by the Soviet NKVD in 1940. It was meant to be a moment of remembrance. Instead, it became a second national tragedy.
As the plane approached Smolensk Severny Military Airport, thick fog covered the runway. Visibility dropped to less than 500 meters. Despite warnings from air traffic control, the crew proceeded with the landing attempt. At 8:41 a.m. local time, just meters from the runway, the aircraft clipped trees and slammed into the ground. It disintegrated on impact. There were no survivors. All 96 passengers and crew died. In an instant, Poland lost its president, its military leaders, and much of its political elite.
News of the crash spread like wildfire. Flags across Poland were lowered. Candles flooded the streets of Warsaw. Millions wept, not just for a president, but for an entire generation of leaders wiped out in seconds. It was the worst air disaster in Polish history. A moment of collective mourning, unlike anything the nation had seen since World War II. But as grief set in, so did questions.
The crash investigation was immediately launched, but it quickly became one of the most controversial and politically divisive in modern European history. The Russian Interstate Aviation Committee, MAK, released a report blaming pilot error and pressure to land from onboard officials. But many in Poland rejected the Russian version. Why was the black box data initially withheld? Why were Polish investigators restricted from accessing key evidence? Why was the wreckage never returned to Poland, even years later? Some believed it was a tragic accident. Others suspected foul play, even hinting at sabotage. The event split Polish society and fueled tensions between Poland and Russia for over a decade.
The Smolensk disaster became more than a tragedy. It became a political fault line. Memorials were built, then torn down. Conspiracy theories flourished. Families of the victims demanded answers that never fully came. Each anniversary reignited old wounds. Because for many Poles, the truth still feels buried in the wreckage.
For a brief moment after the crash, Poland stood united in sorrow. Rival politicians walked side by side. Political flags were replaced by black ribbons. The memory of Katyn, and now Smolensk, became twin scars on the nation's soul. Out of the ashes came an unspoken vow. That Poland would endure. That no matter how many leaders fell, the spirit of the people would not.
The Smolensk Air Disaster was more than a crash. It was a national trauma, a mystery, and a symbol. A moment when a flight meant to honor the dead became a funeral for the living.